Hi guys, Maria here from Maria Unleashed. Welcome back to the podcast. Today I have a very special guest and I've been looking forward to talking to her and I can't wait to share our conversation. So my guest today is Valeria Kechichian. She is an Akashic record reader and mentor, and I've met her a few years ago in Mallorca, and what can I say? I was just immediately hooked. She is such a cool person, and I really mean just so cool and so real and herself, and I'm really, I'm always very drawn to these people. And I immediately was hooked. I'm like, oh my God, you're awesome. So, and then friends of mine, they recommended me to her because they were talking about Akashic record. And I'm like, what's Akashic record? Like, what is that? I have no idea. So I heard my friends talking about it. And then I saw Valeria and I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. If I'm doing it, I'm definitely going to do it with her. So I actually did, and I had my reading done with her, and I was blown away. And I can't even begin to explain what it's about and what it's like. It's so weird. Like, it's weirdly accurate. And it's almost scary because she didn't know. I was literally like, when I had the reading, I was literally wondering, did I tell her that? And I didn't. And yeah, anyway, so if you had one, you know what I'm talking about. If not, we're going to talk about Akashic record. What is it? Like, how can this tool help you in your life and your business? And again, I'm not a great fan of this is how you should be living. This is how you should be doing stuff. I'm not a fan of that at all. And because I don't want people to tell me what to do, I'm never going to tell anyone what to do either. But this is just another great tool. So if you are on the spiritual side and if you are into, let's say, things like astrology or human design, then Akashic record is probably also one for you. And again, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about astrology or human design either. So that's just something I just, like step by step, I met people, they were talking about it and I'm like, okay, sounds good to me. Let's give it a try. And then I did. And it's just, what can I say? It's really just it's a nice tool to gain new perspective, I would say, or to just get a little confirmation, because you always, it's always, for me at least, always coming from deep within. So I actually know, but then my head comes in and then I question myself and I always, double check. I'm like, oh, this is what I want. And then suddenly head comes in, well, no, it's bad because this and this and that. And what if this and this and that? And then suddenly I'm all confused and like, shit, which is, what should I do? And again, so these tools are just really incredible to gain some overall perspective, new perspective, or just some confirmation. So that is just from my experience. And yeah, what can I say? Let's get right to it. I really hope you enjoy our conversation. And another cool fun fact, I believe, about Valeria is that she used to be a pro skater. And yeah, what can I say? And that is probably also like what makes her so cool in my eyes. She's just so not the typical guru or spiritual person. She's just so real and normal and fun and just, totally herself. And yeah, again, what can I say? I can not recommend her more. So if you are into this or if you want to learn more, she's also running a mentorship program. And I believe I'm going to link the dates in the description below. But if I'm correct, she is running a new round in March. So if you want to find out more, enjoy the podcast episode and also check out her profile, because I'm going to link everything in the description below. So you have easy access and find everything, if you need to find her. So enjoy this episode. And if you like it, subscribe, follow along, recommend us. Also check out Valeria's, it's not a podcast, but she has also a Spotify channel where she shares incredible meditation in Spanish and in English. So her native language is Spanish. She is from Argentina. We are going to speak in English, of course, but yeah, you can obviously also then ask her to do this training or the Akashic reading in Spanish. So just that you guys know. All right then, enjoy this one, and I hope you can take away what you need. Here we are now. Val, thank you so much for joining me on this episode today. We just talked a little bit, we had to catch up a little bit. So I'm so excited to just share your wisdom and your journey and your experience with all of my listeners. So thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yay. So, yeah, I just want to give my listeners now a little quick overview. I would really love to talk about a Akashic record because that is your specialty. That is how I met you. And then what is Akashic record? Because I had never heard of it before. And I find it like, again, I had no idea. I joined you, I did a one-on-one with you, and I was just blown away. And I was like, that's insane. That is so cool. But how do you explain this to people? So I'm going to let you do that. And then I would also love to hear a little bit about your journey, how you started your business, and how you are maintaining your business. Because we just talked about it earlier. That is not easy, and you always have to give something. So you always have to pay with your time, and yeah, you always are confronted with so many difficulties and decisions to make, whether to continue this journey, start over, and what. So I'm so excited to hear your side of the story, and also to bring a little bit closer to people how they can get started. And even though it might seem so crazy, because again, how do you explain Akashic record to someone who has never heard of it? But still, here you are making a living. You are very successful. I heard of you from many, many people on Mallorca living there. It's like, you have to go to Val, you have to go see Val. I'm like, who is Val? So I'm like, okay, let's go. And again, what you do is amazing. And yeah, I that's why I really felt the need to share it on my platform and to, just share you with my listeners. So
That was a beautiful introduction. Thank you. That was so
yeah,
nice.
no, but it is so amazing because many people, they believe, hey, you have to be a business, like a typical standard business person to run a successful business. Now, what you do is very spiritual, and it's not in any business sense, but still, here you are. You combine both the spiritual aspects, but also the business side, because obviously you need to make a living. You have to, earn money to also continue your journey and to help other people, because that is what we just talked about with my business, with the online shop. It at some point it was just not making enough money anymore, and then what does it leave me with? So I'm literally there, and now I faced it and I said, okay, I'm going to close now. Another door is opening, but still, at some point, if you can't make a living, you cannot help yourself, and therefore you cannot help any other people. So really
Yeah,
love.
but there's such a big stigma, I feel, around money. There's a big stigma around earning money. There's a big stigma around doing something that is at service of others and earn money. In the meantime, it seems that everything that is around helping others or being at service or anything that it's more, whatever you want to call it, spiritual, holistic or something, it should be cheaper or for free, or it should be like that. And this makes absolutely no sense. In my perception, in my vision, is absolutely the contrary. What we do cannot be paid with money. We put a price. We put a price because money is still, like, we, all of us collectively, are sustaining this economic system, this current economic system, and we all collectively agree that, I don't know, a bill of 50 euros or $100, it's worth 50 euros or $100. It's just a piece of paper. But we're collectively agreeing that this is the current economic system. So we that's the thing, we collectively agree upon that. Maybe in 10 years we go back to salt. Maybe in 15 years we go back to gold. It doesn't matter. It's not about like the money itself, but it's about, to me, the frequency exchange, the energetic exchange of a service that you give, whether it's in the form of a product, whether it's in the form of a course, of a channeling that it's going to help you expand, or whatever it is. But there's so much stigma, and there's so much sort of like a money has such a bad reputation or such a bad perception, like money is bad, and money money has no energy. Money is neutral.
Yes.
Money is absolutely neutral. And on the contrary, I say all the time, money, we are entering an era where the power of and money, it's coming back to the hands of those of us who are investing it for others in the better, at service of the world, with the different intentions that the ones that are still to date holding the biggest amount and the biggest fortunes in the world. So it's not money is not a bad thing. On the contrary, money enable us to do extraordinary things. There's it's kind of like fighting sort of like part of the system. And even though I try to be off the grid as possible and outside of the system as possible, we still collectively agree that this is the system that we live on. I pay rent, I think, and I think also it's okay to, why would I not charge XXY for my services? This makes no sense. Why would you not? And the problem is, but of course, there's a whole system created around that whatever, everything, the cheaper products are the things that people look at because let's face it, like most people still, like they are still in that sort of paradigm that the cheaper I can get it, the better,
Yes.
But also there's a lot of people who are already awakening to a more expanded consciousness and understand and realize, like, no, this product, like this is a natural product, or this is an extraordinary thing. I'm investing on my own expansion. I'm investing on my own development. I'm investing on my health. And this also, of course, it doesn't, because there's no slave labor involved, and there's just so many things around, but around the food, around products, around services, around everything. And I always say, no one looks bad to someone who's selling video games, but if you are like an holistic therapist and you charge whatever money for that, they are like, how dare she?
Yeah. It's exactly
and these
like
stigmas
this,
are ridiculous to me. So I don't even think about them.
Yeah.
I'm like, honestly, like I'm constantly calibrating my ideal client, because I want people the same way that I do, that I don't think twice when it's about investing in something that it's going to be for me, that it's bettering for me, that it's going to help me expand. I just don't think about it twice. I would never step foot in in these cheap supermarkets, or in these, like, I just want to buy, if I can afford it, I only want to buy local and organic and support the local farmers. Are there's, I mean, it's a massive conversation. I don't know if we if we are here today to talk about this, but it's important to start shifting the perception we have of money, the perception we have of this energetic exchange, and what is really investing in ourselves, like what is cheap and what is expensive in the end.
Yes, definitely. And what you just said is so true, because I went through this myself, because I also had a wrong mindset about it, because I wanted to help people. And again, the helping people, making it affordable is a very noble thing. But then in the end, it's exactly what you said. If you are too low, you are attracting the wrong people, those that go money-based decision making. And then you are just losing, because you will never get what you actually deserve, right? And you keep yourself small. And that is what I literally experienced and went through with my online shop, Green Planet. And the other thing was that I was honestly trying to make it affordable for everyone. And the problem here is not everyone, as you said, is ready yet. And that is outside of my control. Like, they themselves have to go, and make their journey. I cannot force them to buy the product, right? So yeah, I'm stepping away from this now. But apparently I had to go through it to really feel it and really understand it. But it is exactly as you said. It really is.
Yeah, and it's calibrating. I'm constantly calibrating as well my ideal client. And this is so linked to the perception that I have of the world, that I have of myself, that I have of my self-worth. It's just, there's so many different realities happening at the same time in the planet, and there's so many people living in different dimensions of consciousness. So it's okay. We are not meant to be for everyone, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's totally okay.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, that's a big one. Maybe at some point we have to do another one on money because that is such an important
Mm-hmm.
topic, and to also
Yeah.
understand that it is not bad. That's also a wrong belief I had in my head. That's coming from my family and then from their parents because they were told money is bad. And I'm like, but why is money bad? Like, no, it whatever, like roughly translated, it's like, no, it gives you like a very bad character. I'm like, but how is money changing my character? Like, if I am a bad person, I probably was a bad person already. And not just, the money is maybe now triggering it because you have more option to be a bad person.
Of
And
course.
I'm like, why are you saying this? But can you imagine growing up like this to like hear money is a bad thing, everything, if people show their wealth and are proud of their owning, like everything they own, but leave them be. Like, why is that our problem? Why?
But most of us grew up in scarce, in very scarce or scarcity mindset homes. Mostly all of us.
Mm,
Like there are very few exceptions, but mostly all of us grew in places where money was always a struggle,
yeah.
or money was not seen as something positive, or we all have that. So we all need to work. If you want to shift, if you want to heal your relationship with money, you need to specifically work on shifting your money mindset. Otherwise, you're always going to be stuck in the same paradigm. I was stuck in the same paradigm for 20 years of that, oh, the maximum I can make, let's say a month is 1,500.
Mm,
This was my paradigm for 20 years until 4 years ago. For 20 years, I thought this is the maximum I can ever make. And of course, because I believe that, that's the reality I created for myself.
yeah.
So when I started investing as well and learning about like money mindset and about like literally how the economic system works, and at the same time shifting and healing my own relationship with myself, my sense of self-worth, my sense of value, my sense of like everything starts shifting. In the end, there are no realities. Everything is just, there are as many realities as perceptions of the people who live in this planet. So yeah, it's a deep issue, it's a deep matter, but to me it's fascinating because it has given me so much liberation,
Mm,
and because I don't have these structures so much anymore, I'm able to expand from a completely different place, and this has given me so much happiness and freedom. And again, at the same time, like I'm a strong believer of circular money, right? Like I'm not a believer of like only saving and storaging, and like I have a nonprofit, I have like all the money goes back to the communities, and it goes back to different programs and different things. So yeah, it's completely shifting the perception we have on money, that until now it was just like grab it, save it, be careful, like money does not like that.
no.
No, nothing. Money, as everything, is just a form of energy, and no form of energy wants to be imprisoned.
Yes.
Energy wants to flow in every sense, in every way, in every sort of like aspect, or energy wants to flow. So that's another thing that we need to learn and change and shift in our own mindset and perception of it,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, for sure. I have an interesting one for this matter because I also, like you, for many, many years, if you do want to run your business and pay your bills and this and that, you have to really organize your money, especially if you're not making a lot. So it's probably very strict. What can you spend on yourself every month? What do you have for the food? What for this and that? So when I was in that situation, I always like also, okay, maybe next month I'm not making enough. Okay, let's put aside a little, which is fair enough. And obviously you should manage your resources wisely. But funny
Mm-hmm.
enough that sometimes when I'm like for too long not treat myself or others, so in that topic now, in that example was my boyfriend, and I wanted to give him like a little handmade little purse, and I saw it. I'm like, oh, I don't know, can I afford it? Do I have the money? And it was like 30 bucks or so, or 35. It wasn't even crazy, but again, I didn't have it lying around. And I'm like, oh man, but I really, oh. And then I didn't. And then, like weeks went by, and then stuff happens like, oh, and now I get an invoice because I forgot to pay a bill or whatever, whatever, like a stupid little thing or like a little ticket on my car, and it's exactly about this amount. And when I stop, and I'm like, are you kidding me? So it was meant to flow anyway. So I could have just spent it on something nice. So now I've been doing that for a year again to like really become more flexible or more flowy with it. And I'm like, no, I want to buy this. It brings me so much joy to, make a little present to the person I love. And I always manage to meet my goals at the end of the month. So suddenly, this little shift of no, that comes from a place of love, and I want to give that, and it brings me so much joy. Suddenly, when I started doing this, and then again, I'm like, oh, okay, so nothing bad happened. Okay, cool. So next month, I can maybe treat myself, and then I book a little meditation with you, and it's like, nothing happened. Oh, awesome, and it's just suddenly it's flowing, and it's so interesting to really observe that, like now in retrospect, how money is always, as you said, it needs to flow, and if you're holding it back, life turns around and takes it away anyway.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's really interesting how money is also teaching us so many lessons all the time, and how much, even though we say, oh no, I don't have that stigma with money, oh no, I don't have, we have so many limiting beliefs around money inherited
Yeah.
from our families, from our clan, from our lineage, from society, from the systems. So it's we need to. I believe that we specifically need to work on our money mindset through books, through podcasts, through courses, through whatever it is that resonates or feel there's insane amount of free resources around this as well. You don't need, if you don't have the money, you don't need to invest on something. There's so many today in this era, right? Like we have so many podcasts and books and things, we can find online. So it's not even about that. But of course, there needs to be the will to get really uncomfortable. The will of, I always say, every shift, everything, like it's always like a little bit of a piece of you is dying, right? Because it needs to be rebirthed from a different consciousness. So all that, those patterns, that personality trait, that part of your personality that perceives money in that way needs to go. So, and we're so attached to ourselves, we're so attached to our ways, we're so attached to our personality, the identification we have of ourselves and how we have done things all our lives or so far. So expanding never comes from a place of comfort. It's always uncomfortable to die. It's always uncomfortable to change things. But expansion cannot come from any other way. So it's ultimately our choice.
Yeah, definitely. And sadly, it's not getting easier. I always believed, oh, when I'm 30, I have everything figured out. But it's not like that at all, right? Just because you've learned the lesson once, there are still so many lessons to come. So it's this ever ongoing process. And that's another one where I always, with my family, because they are very different. They have their 9 to 5 jobs, they do one job for the rest of their lives, and that's how they grew up. So now, I came into the picture, and I'm like, confusing everyone, and especially if people tell you now it has to go like this, and it's every so like linear, but life is not linear. And that is also what I try to explain to people, like maybe it is time to change, maybe the old patterns are not working anymore, and then time, the world is changing, if, like as you just said, like the consciousness of the world is changing and shifting, and if you are stuck, you will kind of fall behind. So it's like you have to at some point, just like nature, it flourishes and blooms, and then in winter it just, it's completely different, the landscape, and it just kind of recovers, and it's quiet and just goes inside, and it's like, okay, so it can bloom again. So it's rather these cycles. And for me it was very hard to, especially like still when I go back to Germany, talk to people there. They have a complete different mindset of all of that. Like change is not good, discomfort is not good. So they want you to arrive like you are 30 and you need to be whatever, married, you need a house and a kid and a job that you will do until you die. How isn't that sad?
But this is very systemic. Like this is how the system was created to, I always say, to always to kill us more and more a little bit. The system does not want expanded thinking beings. The system needs people who do as what the system needs us to do, to provide what the system needs us to provide, and they give us these little things. Oh, you can go on holidays 20 days a year, or you can have Christmas, or you can have, thinking that this is somehow enough for the human spirit to expand, which is not. So now we're realizing, right, like it's been now many years that we're realizing that this does not work or serve our expansion at all in any way. So now we are one of the well, I'm 44, so we are one of the I don't want to say one of the first generations, because already well, I wouldn't say boomers, but I'm generation X. So we are the first as well that I think at some point we said, hey, this does not work for us. This system does not, all these rules, because you just need to see it, like how many people have followed all those rules and got married and had the kids and had the house and got the car and got the dog and got the thing, and everyone is still unhappy and everyone still doesn't feel unfulfilled. Most people don't feel that their life is meaningful, that what they are doing is creating an impact in the world. Like most people continue feel themselves with void, and void for me it's like junk food and clothes and consumption and social media, like all these things, you completely pursue this thing of trying to fill in that void, but in the end all the things that the system has created to fill in that void is ultimately making us more empty. So we are realizing like, hey, things are not this way. Like change is natural for human beings. Expansion, this is the aim of the human experience, is change and expansion. It's ascension. That's the aim of the human experience. We can never do that if we always stay the same. So it's just absolutely the opposite of what the human experience is for, what we're doing here.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So what you do with Akashic Record, when did you start? How do you learn that? Again, like I would never accidentally type in Akashic Record. So that is right.
Yes.
So I'm like, well, how did you start your journey on that? And again, in that sense, which is because you've been doing it for some years now.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes. Well, I was born. Sorry, you wanted to say something
I was
else?
just saying, like when, like especially in our generations, that must have come as a shock for many of your friends and family members, probably. Or were they like?
I think it still is. Yes.
It still is okay.
Yes. And many of them still don't believe it, probably. I don't know. I honestly, when I let go of the pressure of wanting everyone who I know to understand what I do, it was absolutely liberating for me, because this is also like a cage, right? Like, oh, I hope they understand. Oh, I hope they don't believe I'm a phony. Oh, I hope they don't, like, when you get rid of all that, oh, that's like the best feeling. And this did not happen long ago. This happened last year. So, the thing of like, oh, I'll just post anything in the language that I usually speak. Yes, I do speak with the aliens, and now I even like make fun of me, and I exaggerate it. And because it's so liberating to actually say like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be me, and I don't care, what they will say or what they will think. And this is very, very liberating. But yeah, it has been, I guess, I don't know, I guess it has been a shock. But I was saying that I was born with the ability of reading the energy of people and situations. I was born with that. I remember being a kid, and I always tell this story of being at a restaurant and looking at a table and knowing what these people were talking, understanding what was happening. I was born with that gift. But also I've chosen to incarnate in a very complicated household and in a family. I'm Armenian descendant. So my parents are the first or the second generation from Armenians who escaped the genocide at the beginning of the century. So of course these families come with a lot of heaviness, and it's just tough. And it's not about like, oh, let's be loving and understanding, but it's more about like survival. Everyone is in survival mode, and this is generational, right? So it was very tough for me that I was hypersensitive to grow up not only in a household that maybe it was not sensitive at all, But also, there was violence, and there were many different things that made the whole experience very, very tough. But also the system itself, society, school, colleagues, like, we are so disconnected from an early age of our pure divine essence that we have to break ourselves in order to fit in order to be loved, in order to somehow belong to our families, to our clan, to society, to school, with our friends. So it's a very sort of like superficial, um, a little bit damaging, I will say, structures that we are born into. So I did break myself for many, many years trying to fit in, and I disconnected myself from this pure divine essence. I did struggle a lot. I ran away from Argentina when I was a teenager. I came to Europe, and I did for 8 years. I was like getting in and out, different like addictions and drugs and alcohols, eating disorders, partying, heavy partying, because there was so much pain, and I did not know how to handle this. And for all of us, like hypersensitive beings, being born in this sort of environments, it breaks you, and you're all the time trying to find ways to cope with the pain, or to cope with all these emotions, but you don't have tools as well. Also, I always say things were a little bit different at that time. We did not have access to maybe the internet, or like all these things that now we have access to. So and it was when I was 28 that my healing journey started, and it was an extraordinary process. It was in 2013 when sort of like my third eye kind of like opened, and I started seeing things beyond the physical senses, the physical sense of the sight again. And it was in 2016 when I reconnected to the Akashic records through who now is my friend and teacher, Rebecca Lacasa. And my sister took me with her for a session because I didn't even know what she was doing, and I was dating this guy that every time I came back from seeing him, I got sick, and I was like, there's something happening here. This is not okay. So she took me to, of course, I always, since a young age, I've always believed what I believe now. It's not that it was something like, oh, I remember being a kid and I was sent to Catholic school, and I remember fighting. I was 7, 8, 10 years old, and I was fighting with the nuns and telling them, resurrection is not, reincarnation is what's up. And I was sharing like all these things, and I was punished so much. And I was fired from these schools as well. And, I believed what I believe now. Like, I came with that. This was never sort of like erased. But of course, it was through this first session with Rebecca that I had that it turned out to be an Akashic Records reading. And I remember sitting there, and she said, like, okay, what questions do you have? And I just said the questions that I had about life and about like my life, decisions, guide, like anything. And then she started talking, and she started channeling as if like she was saying things that I've never ever shared with anyone, like things that only me knows. And I was like, okay, what is this? Like, what is happening? What is this? And then when we finished, she explained to me very briefly about the Akashic records. And she said, this is something that people can also learn. And I was like, no way, you need to be born. You need to be, to born with this ability. And she said, no, you don't, you will see. So some months later, she calls me. She was doing an initiation to the Akashic Records. So I will briefly explain what the Akashic Records are. They are this sort of universal library. We call it universal library. It's not a library. It's an energetic space. And in this energetic space is stored all the information of every being that has ever existed, at least from our side of the universe. So all their information, we should say that there's the book of life of every being that exists, not just incarnating on planet Earth, but in all the different civilizations from our side of the universe. So not just one incarnation, but what I mean about the book of life is the story, the journey from each soul, since it detaches from source, right? Like we say that we are source experiencing itself. So we are all fractals of source, and we detach from source, and we start like this, what we call the soul journey. And in the Akashic records is this place where the whole journey is stored. It's not only stored in each one of our souls, but it's also stored in this energetic space that it's very close to the energy of source, right? Of Yahweh, God, whatever name you want to. I'm not, I don't care so much about the name. So it's an energetic space very close to source. Akasha in Sanskrit means primordial energy. So it's this space, it's this absolutely sacred space, and they are guardians of the Akashic records. They are very sacred beings who guard this energetic space, and they are the ones as well who somehow may allow or not allow your entrance to this space. This being said, every human being in our human condition, we have a natural access to the Akashic records. This is not something reserved for some chosen people who are born with, yes, some people are born with the gift of remembering and being able to consciously channel, but also every human being can do this. Yes, not every human being maybe in this incarnation will channel the same way, for example, that I do. I'm a vocal channel. So I can connect and blah blah blah. You've done a reading with me. You've done many of my meditations. I just connect and I download, and they are talking through me. Yes. So, but some people, for example, maybe they're not going to be vocal channels, but many people are going to be, for example, I open my records and I'm writing a book, or I'm open my records and I create, I talk with the plants, I see what's the best combination, and I create a natural product line, for a natural cosmetic product line. Some people will open the records and they're going to create different sorts of arts, music, dance, painting, sculpture. So there's so many. This is accessing to this primordial energy of our soul and all the information that from our whole soul journey. So when we access the Akashic records, we can also access, of course, all our guides, all our human and soul light lineages. We can talk with any sort of like light beings, angels, archangels, ascended masters, beings from our own lineage that maybe are not incarnated at the moment. It's truly, truly infinite. We can open the records of planet Earth. We can open the records of the elements. We can open it's just the work with the records is infinite, because over there, like it's all the information is there, and it creates this ability to channel and to connect to higher realms of consciousness. Is an ability that all human beings, we have the potential. Not everyone is doing it, not everyone is using it, but everyone has the potential. So even though I was born with the ability of reading the energy of people and situations, through my work with the records and through doing the initiation and then level 2 and all these different things with the records, I was able to me, it was like coming back home. I was fascinated by it. I was like, and I had so many mind resistances because I was not born in a place where I was pushed to be, whoever I want to, and you can be whatever you want to be, and you can, I was not born in a place that, enabled that much my expansion. So I never thought of me as I always knew there was something, because there's special things in everyone. So I don't think it's me that, I thought that I was, but I always knew inside that there was this fire and this power and this thing. I just didn't know, how do I get this out? What is this? So through the work with the Akashic records, through the connection, through a reading, you can understand a lot of the information of your soul, who you are, what you came here to be, what are your different life purposes, what if you have blockages with relationships, if you have blockages with your service, if you can learn about absolutely anything. So it's like the most sacred, fantastic, transformative gift to me, that you can give to others. So that's why I always say, like, I just, being at service and being able to help someone shift the perception that they have of themselves, their life, to give them confirmations of things they've always felt but never knew how to translate, how to put in words, how to sort of like fusion it or match it with this human experience. There's just so many answers and so much relief and so much expansion and so much healing in so many different ways that I what we do is a blessing. It's really truly a blessing. So that's a little bit about the Akashic records. I don't know if if it was clear enough, but that's, I would explain. I always say the Akashic records are like the iCloud of the universe. So every thought that you have, everything, boom, it gets instantly uploaded to this sort of like cloud. So there it is. All the information is there.
Yeah.
So it's the iCloud of the universe. I need to copyright that phrase. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I will
but
say that.
it is, yeah, I had, like what you explained with your first reading was yeah, basically my experience with you as well, because I also like I don't like to read up front too much, because then I'm, you know, I don't want to, I would just want to see, like from a net, like a neutral perspective, I want to just make up my own mind. So I don't like to get too much outside information in before I got a chance to make up my own mind. But it was basically also like that. I just sat there and you, I find you so cool. So even if, you know, it's like whatever happens, like whether I agree with it or not, or whether I think that's strange, it doesn't matter, because I know I'm just going to have a good time with you there anyway. And who knows, maybe I get some good information or just new perspective on things. And that's exactly what happened when I had my reading with you. And I also, I literally in that moment, I'm like, huh? Did I tell her that? No, I didn't. I didn't tell her that. How does she know? Exactly like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Because it's not me. It's not that I know. It's your guides and your own soul. It's talking through me. So I don't know. And that's why also when I close your records, I remember nothing. It's not that I retain this information. It's not my mind making it up. So I'm like, oh, I remember. No, I close your records. I remember nothing of what I told you.
Imagine you wouldn't. That would be insane. Like the
That
information
would be very
you, that
insane.
is
No.
insane.
Imagine I've done thousands of readings
Crazy.
from people all around the world. It would be, thank God. Though I will say that sometimes I would love to remember certain things because some questions are so interesting and there's so much explanation about certain things that I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could, I would remember this sometimes, even though I really quiet my mind and I put her to sleep somehow and I put her at service of what's happening. I will say that sometimes I was like, I wish I would remember this because it's so interesting. Because some things are general, it's not just about like, I don't know, a personal process, but some people ask about general questions, like how was the universe was created? Like what is with AI or like there's so many interesting questions and the answers are extraordinary.
Yeah. But I must say, like, you create a very safe space. Like it's very, yeah, I don't know. It's a very, very cool experience. And for me, it's also like, I don't really like to follow, like, I'm not the list type. I love writing my own reminders and writing what comes out, but I don't like to really stuck to a certain list. And I don't know what you said. Again, it wasn't you, but what you channeled is just really like, okay, interesting. And a lot is still like closing now. I almost, it's like, because I remember when I started feeling a bit uncertain about a few things and very stuck, that is when I went to you and I was like, okay, cool, I'm just going to do it now. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm just going to do it. And how I like to see it, it's not, you are not saying you have to do this, you have to do that. It is more, I can't even explain it, but it gave me a confirmation and B also a new perspective on things. It was just a shift of just see it from that side, and then suddenly it's like this whole new thing you didn't even see, even though it was right in front of your eyes. And that is what I really like about it. You don't come and say, and I wouldn't want that someone says you have to do that and you have to do that. Not at all. It's literally just like,
this is against one of the main pillars of the record. So in the Akashic records, many people come to me and they say, oh, I had an Akashic records reading and they told me I had to. And I'm like, no, that was not an Akashic records reading. From the records, your guides, they will never, ever, ever tell you what to do because this would be interfering in your free will. And no one wants to do that. Not me, nor your guides, not from the records. But they do provide, also there's no judgment. Another of the pillars, there's no judgment. So for them, it doesn't exist good or bad, or this is just human judgment. This does not exist to them. What they do is they provide all the information, sort of like the energetic background or why certain situation happening, what's the purpose of that situation, like all this energetic background. And it's in the end, it's so clear that you naturally make a choice that it's aligned to your to whatever process that you're going through that maybe will help. I do not believe, I have to say, I don't believe in like bad decisions. I don't believe in like taking the wrong way. I don't think that exists. I think that if we made a decision or like there was something for us there was something that we need to learn out there. So I don't believe in like bad or wrong decisions or something more aligned to your life path. I don't believe in that. But yes, they will never interfere with your free will, but they will provide so much information that it would be inevitable for you to make, to be very easy to make decisions for yourself.
No, really great experience. Great experience. And it's still echoing. Like what you said, and that was 2 years or 3 years ago. I can't even remember. But it's now literally, it's almost like a full circle now. And now I can really, again, I said to you before we started, like I was clinging on to an idea, to what I created, and it was, I gave it my all, and I didn't want to close. And I came to you with that, and like, okay, what am I doing here? This and this and that. And now I feel like, okay, now the cycle is closing and we are coming towards a new one, and it's like liberating and okay, cool. And it's just so interesting how it makes really sense and still echoes through, as we said also as well, like how do you put a price on that? Because I gain so much from it. I can't speak for other people, but definitely for me it helps me, and I still go back to it, and I love your meditations as well. And I don't know, it's just almost like a little reset, and it's like, okay, let's view it from this side, let's try it again here. And I don't know, it just really helps me, and it still helps me. And again, I had this session with you like a few years ago, and it's still like now going.
Yes, I always say that it's the gift that always keeps unfolding. So every new time that you listen to the audio, there is new information that's going to come down, there's new information that will unfold, and it can last. The information that they provide, it can last for years.
Yes.
So it's not like, of course, many people, they like to have a reading every like certain months, or every, if there's something that comes up, they want to do a new reading. But still, every reading, you can use it for years to come.
Yes.
Because there's so much in it. It's what a wonderful present. Like, and again, how can you put a price on it? You know, how can you put a price on it? So that's why, to me, it's important that also that not only I am like that, but the people that I attract are people who also, having an Akashic Records reading is a very strong sort of like call from your soul, that it's like, okay, we need to talk, right? Like it's a beautiful thing. But it's people that are also like, I always say, this is not an investment, it's investment in me. This is an investment in them. Yes, they provide also like my means, yes, but this is an investment in them. Every time that I invest in something, whether it's a reading, a course, a workshop, a healing, whatever, I invest in me. I don't invest in that person. I trust that person, that it's going to serve me as a catalyst to what I need, whether it's information, whether it's tools, techniques. But in the end, also, it's almost, that's why I don't believe so much. This is so old for me, the idea of like gurus and spiritual masters. This is so old school. We are now entering this era of accessing our own personal mastery. We are helping each other with the gifts and the talents and the things that we remember. Absolutely. So I can help you, remember and access your records, or I can teach you how to access your records. And then another one can help me, I don't know, through sound healing, or another one person through whatever each gift or whatever each person has. But it's not that I have the absolute truth. I always say, in my newsletters, in everything, I always say, just take what resonates with you. The truth is always inside yourself. Just take whatever resonates with you. So this idea, this concept of these gurus and spiritual masters, that it's so common now, and everyone who, especially many people, maybe who channel, or maybe people, there's this massive sort of like ego trip, like, oh, I'm more important than others, or I can do this, or I know more than others. This is, what a trap. What a trap for them and for everyone, I think, that follows. But it's still popular, I guess.
Yeah, true.
It's a process.
It really is, yeah. And you also can't force people. I don't know. People can, but I don't like to force people, because it has to come from them. If you want it to be a long-lasting impact, it has to always come from within yourself.
Yeah, we can do nothing. No. We cannot help or heal, or we can do nothing. We can only provide this, and I say, like, I'm not healing. Yes, sometimes the guides, they provide a lot of healing, or sometimes, but it's all in accordance and in agreement with your higher self. So we don't do more than what your higher self agrees upon. So we don't take out the experience of you learning how to heal yourself. That's why, as you know, when we're done, for example, with a reading, I do provide with all the tools, with all the techniques that have been suggested for you for your process, but I don't do this for you. Do this for you.
Yeah.
I am in no position of doing any of that for you. Like, you need to do that for yourself. Yes. So I do believe that but because this, I think it's also very empowering, is I have this power of doing this. Maybe I don't have the tools. That's why I'm here. But you have the power to do all these things, to cancel contracts, to break, I don't know, karmic bonds that are no longer serving you, to break free from things that you've inherited from your lineage, to clear implants, to heal your inner child, to whatever it is. You can do that. Again,
Yeah.
maybe you need someone to provide the tools.
Yes. Yeah.
But we all have that ability. Yeah. We all have that sovereignty, that authority.
And can I just ask you, like, going back to 10 years, did you say you started Akashic? Yeah, in 2016? That's when you started?
In 2016, I reconnected to the records.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you immediately start to provide help, for others? Did you just, or I don't know, how do you start? Like, how?
No, I did not want to. To me, doing readings for others was like I did not want that. It was crazy. And it was so funny because when I did level 2, I was like, level 2 is the level. So level 1, the Akashic records are being taught in 2 different levels. Level 1 is learning how to access your own records, the records and the bonds of everyone that you have links or bonds with. And level 2 now grants you access to accessing the records of other people, animals, places, events. Like, it's like everything, like literally everything. So it's interesting how when I did level 2, I was immediately like, to me this was like the easiest thing. Like, and my teachers, I remember being like, okay. So now I ended up doing readings now I do readings for my teachers. So it was really, really, it was, to me, it was so natural. And clearly this was on my life path as well, right? Like, clearly I was, with the disabilities that I was born with and all these things. This was clear in my path, obviously. But I want nothing to do with doing readings to other people. I would only do them if, my mom was like, Val, I have a friend, she really needs it. Okay, well, okay, mom, I'll do it, or I had friends, or, just for my friends and families or things, when they needed something, I was like, okay, I'll do it, but I was not into it at all. And then also at that time, I was a professional skateboarder, a longboarder. So I was like traveling the world with my skateboards, and, it was just a whole different situation. So that's why also it was so hard for me to shift this identity. I was doing that for 10 years. I got very successful, and, I was portrayed in a lot of media around the world. I was traveling the world, shooting like commercials and ads and music videos, and I don't know, all these things. And suddenly I'm like, okay, it was 10 years. I felt that I completed my cycle, and I had to detach myself from that identity that I felt was so integrated in me. And I had to learn to let the skater Valeria and the community builder die. And I was suddenly like, oh, I'm an Akashic Records reader, I'm a channel, I'm a this. And I was like, people will think I'm absolutely cuckoo, I'm absolutely, I lost my mind, my family, my friends, everyone I knew. I was like, what is this skater girl now doing or talking about? It was like really, really crazy. But it was a call. My guides were telling me like, it's time. And I was so scared. I was scared of what everyone would think. I was like, yeah, what I'm supposed to do? Like, come out and say like, yeah, I talked to the aliens now. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, it was just so crazy. Yeah. And it took a lot of courage. And that first year that I launched my newsletter, Akasha, where I started sharing my journey, sharing things that I channel, sharing techniques, healing techniques, guided meditations. I did question my life choices every day, because I was like, this is crazy. No, this is, but I trusted. So it requires, dying hurts. Mm-hmm. Because and it hurts because we have attachment to, we would not feel any sort of pain if we would not have attachment to anything. Attachment is the ultimate root of suffering. So it took a lot of time for me to detach myself from that version of myself and embody and truly accept this new part of my life. And I think that life also goes by phases, you know. So at some point, and it was not too long ago, maybe it was 3 years ago, maybe, that I started doing readings for other people, you know, like really sort of like opening my thing, like 3-4 years maybe.
Wow.
2022, I think it was 2022. No, it was not even
No.
3 years, no, for sure. And I started in 2022 doing readings here in the island. I was like, okay, let's do this. And of course, it was like how do you say, like dynamite.
Yeah.
Like I did one reading, and then it was like people started talking. Oh my God, you need to try this. Oh
Yeah.
my God, you need to try. Oh my God, and it spread like fire.
Wildfire, yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically, this is people are like, how did you get like this successful? Like, how did you? And I'm like, I don't even, like, last year I only did like 9 posts. In 1 year I did 9 Instagram posts. So I haven't even really used, like, you know, like, oh, it's like, oh, you have like that. No, I haven't even really used like social media, you know, so much. So it's really has been a lot about like mouth to mouth. And then of course I started, you know, investing. It's like, oh, okay, this is, I love doing this. I love, like, it just, you know, my guys were like, dude, come on, like, this is it, like, seriously, leave the skateboard, you know, it's time. Like, people need
Yeah.
this help, people need this assistance, people need this confirmation. It's the time now, and you came here to help star seeds, energy workers, and remember who they are. Get the confirmation of who they are. Like, you need this. We need everyone, like all the light workers in the world. We need them sort of like, you know, armed and okay,
Yeah,
we're ready.
exactly.
We acknowledge ourselves. So at this time I was like, okay, how can I make this? It took some years, of course, but how can I started investing in mentorship, and I started investing in money mindset trainings and business trainings. And it was thanks to that as well that I was able to amplify sort of my own service, amplify the service that I provide, amplify the things that I provide, to make it a very sustainable service and business. And I get to make a beautiful living out of helping others. Like, is there anything, like, I cannot believe, like, is there anything better in the world? Like, it's just such a blessing,
Yeah,
you know, to me. And it's I always say, being able to do this for others, and you know, it's the honor of my life. There's no bigger honor than help another person, like, remember who they are on a soul level, reconnect to that inner power, help them heal, transcend, and align to their own divinity. Because now, this person that is now expanded, awakened, aligned, is going to help, and it's going to impact everyone around them as well. So it's sort of like a net of light that is forever expanding. And oh my God, what a gift.
Yes.
Oh my God, what we do. What a gift.
Yeah.
So that's why people say, like, oh, like, I have no shame or negative connotation around selling, because what I provide is like, oh my God, I have this extraordinary thing. It's gonna really, it's so amazing. It's so nice. You should, you know, like, I have no shame or anything like around selling or around, like, it's like, no, what I provide is beautiful and extraordinary and transformative. And for whoever resonates,
Yes.
I'm here
Yes.
because I'm committed. I'm committed to your growth. I'm committed to your expansion, you know? And I want people as well to acknowledge themselves as sovereign beings, as beings who can provide the same way that what I've learned to do in these past 3-4 years. And now I have a flourishing business as well, if you want to call it that way. Yeah. I think everyone, and I think we all need these individuals. It's less Amazon, more individuals, you know, it's more individuals reaching and aligning to our true potential and making a living, expanding our service out of that. This is what I help people do. Some people know what the service is. Some people don't know what it is.
Yeah.
We get this information through the records, but we need, it's more, right, the power to the people. This is what I do. This is what we do. We give power back to the people and give them tools on how to do it.
Definitely.
This is, I think, one of the most important things that we need to do in this extraordinary time that we're going through on Earth, on humanity. this what I call the planetary ascension process, right? Like there's this massive awakening, there's this earth awakening, things are changing, things are shifting. And even though now everything looks very chaotic, it's an extraordinary time as well, filled with opportunities and filled with great change and things and shifts, and this is necessary. So let's get all put our, all our gifts and talents and everything what you know to do and help each other do it along the way.
Yes, I agree 1,000%. Exactly. I also find the time sometimes a bit confusing, sometimes scary, but overall, I'm very excited. Like, it is so exciting to see people waking up and realizing, hey, I can do, like, again, free will. That is also what's so important. What I also tell people who come to work with me, I'm like, listen, I'm not your mother. You have to decide, like, what is it worth for you? Do you want a healthy life or not? And frankly, I don't care. What you do at home is your business. I am here to help. I can offer it to you. I can bring you to the water. I can't make you drink. Everyone has the choice to live their best lives every day. And every day you can decide to turn things around and to make it better or differently. So I find that very, very exciting. And also now with this, just connecting to you via our podcast or my podcast. You have a podcast too, which I love.
I don't have a podcast. I just upload guided meditation on Spotify. Yes,
I love it though. I love it because you do it in Spanish and in English. And I love to practice Spanish with you. It's awesome.
Really?
Yes,
no.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yes,
no,
that's
it's
so
great.
funny.
It's not Akashic record. It's Akash.
It's AKASHA by Valeria Kechichian.
Right.
Yes, AKASHA by Valeria Kechichian. That's the Spotify channel and also the name of the newsletter. So all these are my free resources.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Like we are at service,
Yes.
right? So I have a lot of free resources. I have so many articles in my newsletter. Well, I don't know if so many, but like around 45 articles on my newsletter with so much information, healing techniques, understanding. I have all my guided meditations. So this is the thing. Like if anyone needs it, that's all available for free for everyone. Yes. And actually, I think the other day Spotify said that my guided meditations are done in 105 countries. I was blown away.
That is awesome.
I was blown away.
That's awesome.
But so that is there. And if you, of course, want a more personalized experience, there's the personalized experiences, of course.
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
But there are tons of free resources.
Yeah. That's also great. That was also a big one for me because I also believe we should all have access to this knowledge. My knowledge, your knowledge. I find it also very important to share it. But again, if you want this one-on-one or more information on that, then there is no shame in asking for more money and to also it is so sad, but so many people also, like, I remember that because I undercharged a lot in the past. And for me, even though I wasn't rich yet, but my mindset was already rich. So I was like, hey, but so many the other people who also don't have a lot of money, they must understand the value I bring to the table. Quite sadly though, they did not, because their mindset was very poor. And that reflected in their bank account, right? And that is why I was like always struggling, but why don't they understand the value? And that is, again, you understand what you want to understand. But important is that it really also the value equals the price. It is so important.
And also I think it's education as well. Many people do not know why certain things are cheap and why certain things are more expensive. Many people do not know. They think like, oh, if I can buy it in the supermarket for 10, why is she selling it for 70?
Yeah.
Because they don't know. Yeah. They don't know the labor that is involved in this. They don't know the different chains. They don't know the sources. They don't know. Many people still don't know the difference between organic and non-organic. Many people, there's so many things that are around this. And it's also, the system educated us in very different values than the ones that we are trying to than the ones that we work with. The value of quality and the value of supporting a small business and the value of like all these different things that we bring to the table. It's the actual opposite of Amazon,
Yeah.
So that's the thing as well. I think also it's interesting, not because we need to educate anyone, but also sometimes I like to, share this vision or share these values, because people are like, oh, okay, I've never thought about it. The same way that I didn't think about it, like maybe 20 years ago. So yeah, I think it's very linked to education and what we have been exposed to.
Yeah.
Right? We are in the end, we are also such a big part of ourselves is our environment.
Yes, for sure. 100%. That changed also.
We agree in everything today, apparently. Okay. 100%, yes.
No,
Yes.
but I guess because we all, like, you went your way, I went mine. We all did it. Like, we have a journey behind us already. And we went through the process ourselves. We didn't read that in books. Like, it was like you lived through your journey. I lived through mine with my, again, I also came from the advertising industry. Then I started my online shop, and now I'm also evolving to the next level. So I guess that's it. Everyone I speak to who has actually done it and who not just read about it or heard about it, but who has actually done the process, they all agree. That's just what it is. And I was also very, very uneducated, and I also didn't understand the difference between why does this organic piece of meat cost more than this, and why is that cheese so expensive when I can get it for €2 in a supermarket. I was that person, and now I know.
We were all.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we were all. It's okay. That's why we should not be, it's not about so much about the judgment of those who don't understand, but it's more about like, well, maybe I can expose some of these truths or some of these values around me, and whoever is ready to receive them, maybe their mind can change it, but also it's never up to us.
Yeah.
We can put the information out there. Everyone can do with that whatever they want. So yeah, that is really interesting, and that is right, like the process also of what we call awakening. I'm not a big fan of the word, but you know what I mean.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
I love it. And are you still traveling, by the way? Are you still traveling the world?
Not so much, no. I like to be in my house. I live in a house up in the mountain in a very remote area with my 3 cats. I love around nature, and this is what I want. This is what I need. I do because of the energetic demand of my work. I need to be in a quiet place. I need to be not surrounded by a lot of people. This is what's good for me now. This is what serves me now, and I love it. I do travel a little bit, to go visit my sister in Barcelona, or to go here and there. Also, my partner lives in France, so I go back and forth as well sometimes, but I love to be grounded now. I love to be in one place. I love my routine. I just love the quietness now. And it's crazy to think how I lived on the road for 3 years nonstop. And now it's like, oh my God, I love to be quiet. I love because I already have also a lot of like things that excites me, and a lot of, like inside, and my work and my service, like these are things that excites me as well. So I think it's nice to find the balance that works for each other, for each person, for me, it's like, I like to have a little bit of this and, find the balance. But also it is true that creating your own service and continually and constantly expand, it requires a lot of us. That's what we were talking before, right? Like, I don't have much time for maybe socializing, or I don't have as much time as most of the people that I know maybe in socializing. Why? Because I choose to invest. It's not that I don't have the time. I choose to invest that time maybe in my service, or I invest that time in doing other things. So it will require a lot of you, and sometimes it's kind of like, oh, I really want to do that, but maybe I don't, because I have to do this other thing that I want for my business, for my service. And yeah, it's all about like choices, but it will take some, effort and deconstruction and learning. And it does. I always say, like, we are all capable of having extraordinary lives, but also to have extraordinary lives, that means that sometimes we need to make extraordinary moves. And we need to make the tough calls, and we need to make decisions that maybe are not so nice or funny at the moment, but they will provide with a beautiful outcome. Maybe not now, but in the near future. So discipline is great. I think right. It's this. They say it's one of the strongest forms of self-love. Not the discipline that we know, like, this bad discipline, but the discipline of truly showing up for yourself every day to provide for you the things that you want, and aligning so much to your masculine energy that is providing all these things that the feminine desires and wants. I think it's one of the most beautiful things that I've learned throughout the years.
And speaking of tough decisions, is there one thing you regret, or one thing you wish you had known before that someone told you?
No. Everything happened the way it had to happen, and everything happened for a reason. And if I haven't learned, I'm still learning from whatever decision or whatever circumstance or situation. So no, I don't believe again in things, oh, I wish this would not have happened, or I wish, like, I come from a very complicated place. I come from a very tough life. I don't come from a place of joy and expansion. I come from a very hard place. And I always say, if I was able to shift my life and to shift the perspective I have of myself and the world, and now I'm such a positive person, and I'm so joyful, and I'm so happy, and I'm in love with the human experience. And I used to hate the human experience.
Wow.
I used to, when I was a teenager, I was so scared of everything. I didn't want to leave the house. I was scared of everything and everyone, and I was such a different person. So if I was able to go through this and do it, that's why I'm like, hey, everyone can do it. Like, don't excuses, whatever you want. I don't care about the excuses. Like, we can all do this.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Oh, I love it. And now we have more helpers, because people are stepping up the game and come out and are not ashamed anymore. Because I had just had an interview with Hillary. She does human design, and she comes from Australia. And she was also like, I was so afraid. What would people think of me? Because like you, like she was like, oh my God, people must think I'm like a bit woo-woo. But no, it's like she's like fully booked, and she helps so many people because she's now stepping up and, like, being a public figure and speaks honestly about it. And I was like, that's so amazing. That's so amazing. That's where we need more people to step up the game, to be the version.
And we care about, yes, we care about these people who will judge us for being too woohoo. And in the end, these people are not the ones who are ready for what we do. And why do I care? I want to talk in my language to the people that are in a similar frequency, or that feel somehow attracted to my medicine, to my energy, to what I can do and provide. So I'm going to talk to them. Why would I care talking about that everyone understands? No one have done anything extraordinary pleasing everyone.
Yeah.
So the sooner we sort of like get rid of that stigma, the faster we will align to our, and I think it's a for life process. I don't think it's like, oh, I've mastered it already, like, no, it has steps and phases, and it's okay. But the sooner we realize this and work towards upon of deconstructing more and more these limiting belief, expansion comes, because the universe does not want us to be struggling so much.
Yeah.
Especially many of us who came with very specific, maybe like purposes or missions or things, whatever you want to call them. The universe wants us to be chill and cool, for us to be able to expand and create and share and inspire and impact and whatever it is that you want to do. So there's a natural, beautiful flow that we are still sort of somehow scared of it. It's like, wait, really? Can everything work? And it doesn't depend about anything on the outside, because things are going to continue happening, right? Like I think it was Edgar Tolle once said, like, the world is not here to make you happy. The world is here to challenge you. And this is what we came here to do for the human experience. We're here going through different challenges to be sort of like put under pressure, like a carbon that is put under pressure to get the diamond out.
Yes.
This is what we're doing on planet Earth. Let's not forget what I don't care whatever gift you came with. You're still doing, and we're still all walking our own personal human mastery. So this is going to happen, and it's okay, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have a visitor of me.
Yeah, I just said, like, the last meditation, I heard the cat and I loved it.
So it was her. This was her.
That's so cute. She had something to say.
This was her.
Did you find your cat, by the way? Are these like adoption cats?
Yeah, they're street cats, of course. No, they came to me, and it turned out that they were energetic guardians of what I'm doing. The three of them have very strong roles in the energetic work that I do. Each one of them. Some of them, they guard the energy. This one in particular, she's a portal opener. So she provides, like, every time that I need to open a portal or something, like, she's here assisting. So yeah, that is the one that you heard in the
Yes.
2501 of January meditation. So yeah, each one of my cats have a specific role
I love it. Yeah.
in what I do. So it's really beautiful. Yes.
I love it. Well, where can people find you? Like, let's say they want to. Do you still do one-on-ones as well, or do you only teach?
Yes.
You do.
No. I do one-on-ones. I do on my Instagram page. I'm finishing the website. I know people are like, how can you gotten like this on your service and don't have a website? And I'm like, because I didn't need it.
Yes, exactly. And that's yes.
Because I didn't need it,
Yes.
I was like, really, everything was okay and it was fine and I was able to, but of course now I'm finishing I'm not doing it. I hired someone to do the website, but I'm doing the website. So it's going to be valeriakechichian.com. But in the meantime, you can, on my Instagram page, you can find, like the links to book a session, a reading, to send me an email, a message, whatever you want. So you can find me there as well. And of course, subscribing to my newsletter, AKASHA by Valeria Kechichian, and on my Spotify channels.
Yes.
So yeah.
Awesome. And
a little bit like that.
I will put all the links as well in the description. So anyone who just feels called can just, click them and connect to you. And also just one last one, because I really love that you are also now teaching others, like you were taught back in the day. Now you are also teaching other people to become a reader.
I am a teacher. Yes, I am an Akashic Records teacher. And that means that I teach others as well to access their own records, to access the records of other people. So this is one of the greatest joys. I love, 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 love being a teacher. And people are like, sometimes they are, I'm just talking and sharing and this and that. And I do it with so much joy and fun, in a fun way. Also, I'm very down to earth.
Yes.
I always joke and I say I'm not the mystic type. I'm not someone who talks like this. And like, I'm not that person. I'm very demystified. I bring everything down to earth. To me as well, it's like a new way as well. It's not like the way that people perceive that a spiritual person should be. What is spiritual person? We're all spiritual beings. There's nothing more spiritual than another thing, So I do it in this like sort of like fun, down to earth way. And I think my students, all of them, they love it. And I guess they feel drawn to me because of my style. Maybe if you feel drawn to another style, you would go with another teacher as well. And yeah, so I do teach, and also I do workshops and master classes and things like this, teaching people as well different things like technical, how to protect yourself, clean and protect yourself energetically, how to, understand a lot of things, like how to identify your emotional wounds and how to heal, transcend, healing techniques. There are so many things, and I'm preparing now for these upcoming months a workshop on learning how to manifest, because this is the main thing, like how, like, it's going to have a little bit of money mindset and a little bit of business training and a little bit of truly, like, because in the end, everything is frequency, right? So if we learn how to get rid of old energy, blockages, whatever, and align to the energy of what you want, then you become a magnet. It's natural. You don't have to do anything. It's effortlessly. You become a magnet to that same frequency. And all these are like natural, basic sort of like information of how energy works, how the quantum works, if we knew all this, like, life of most people would be very different.
Yes.
So to me, it's I'm so committed to help people regain their sovereignty, because I felt trapped in the system for so many years, and I want people to, hey, I did it. You can do it too.
Yes.
I'll teach you how I did it.
Yeah.
And to me, this is super important. And I love, love, love. This is one of my favorite things. So yeah, I do many, many different things. I do one-on-one sessions. I do mentorships. I teach in different formats. I also, do these activations every portal day in every month that I download. I just open the records, and the guides guide us through different activations in our different bodies, provide us information. So I do many different things.
Yes, And they are awesome. I
Mhm.
love it. I love it so much. And thank you so much for taking your time because, as you said, you have probably so many things and you're probably also just happy to just relax for some time. So I do appreciate it so much that you spent your time here with me. Thank you.
With so much pleasure. Thank you for having me, Maria. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you
Amazing.
for
Well,
this space as
I
well.
can't wait to see you again in person, catch up, and maybe have another conversation in the future. I would love it. Thank you so much for coming on the
Absolutely.
show. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Sending love to everyone. Mwah.
Bye. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode and found exactly what you needed from it. If you would like to support my mission, don't forget to follow the podcast and leave a 5-star review. I appreciate your guys' support massively. For more, head over to my website at greenplanetcosmetics.com, where you will find free content, my online workshops, and of course, my signature expert class. If you are feeling called to dive deeper, I also offer one-on-one sessions and intensive packages. Just reach out to me directly. And last but not least, if you have any further questions, business or lifestyle related, or if you would like to hear more about my story, don't hesitate to ask. I would love to hear from you and weave your questions into my future episodes. Now, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.